So good morning, welcome everybody. I'm so happy, very honored to have Deepak ji on my Facebook today. And this is last time we had one conversation, and this is continuation, and we are planning to have more. So very excited about it.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah. So I wanted to, I know like Deepak ji have some question for me, and I have some question for him. So basically, what we wanted to do is ask few questions. It's going to be a little bit more open. I think Rob, you need to maybe there's a feedback here, and somehow there's a feedback. Good. So basic first thing is I just wanted to start with one basic question here, because we are talking about exploring the rainbow body and exploring the rainbow body from ancient tradition, like Dzogchen tradition and the Burn tradition, particularly for thousands of years old. And also many teachers have achieved this body of light. And also Deepak ji has been always exploring these in a deep from scientific perspective. So I think I'm going to ask him some of the questions, and I think he will share some light there. So first I want to start with the one basic question is that, something that I always struggle in, even in the Buddhist philosophy, is that also even all the tenet systems are the same, that conditional mind or conditions that either is personal identity conditions or subject-object conditions or material conditions, or philosophical theoretical conditions. So conditional mind, basically, to understand something unconditional, the truth, or even the science always changes the limited perspective of tenet system or the physics or whatever it is. So how it's possible to understand something which is beyond all? So this is my just first basic question. I think science and every philosophy faces the same problem.
So actually, before we do that, Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche ji, I've been reading all your work, and I've been reading this book, Tibetan Yogas of Body, Speech and Mind. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding a very useful constructs here, and actually going beyond the constructs to the source of all constructs in this book. So I think before I give any feedback, maybe you can say a few words. What exactly do you mean when you use the word rainbow body? And why do we need to understand the rainbow body? And then maybe I can give some scientific
okay.
Possibly.
Yeah.
What is the rainbow body? Why do we need to know what it is?
Okay, so that's fine. I'm supposed to be asking a question to you. You ask a question. So that's fine. So I will explain from the point of view of our Burn tradition, particularly Dzogchen tradition. And last time on our conversation, you asked about the 6 lamps, which I was not particularly prepared to speak much about it. So I thought maybe say a little bit about that.
Please.
First of all, why rainbow body is, the rainbow body is a fruition, is a result of following a path of spiritual journey. So in the tradition, we say base, path, and fruition. So 3 things: base, path, and fruition. Base is like, what is the fundamental truth that you need to understand in order to follow the path or in order to experience the path. And then once you follow the path, experience the path, then what do you achieve? So, what do you achieve in this offline tradition? I'm not sure this echo is coming sound. Maybe you want to turn off, mute yourself. Deepak. Okay, so that may be better. Yeah. So the base, path, and fruition. So the base is so the rainbow body is the fruition, what you achieve actually afterward. So why is that? Is that because it is believed that uh, we even though we appear in a physical dimension, we have our own body, we have a speech, we have a mind, we have all the experiences of our self as a person, perception of ourselves, but they all come from the base, this boundless space and infinite awareness or infinite light, and this dynamic energy. So treating the boundless space, infinite awareness, and dynamic energies. So these are the causes what we give the birth to our body. But why one particular form of physical body is that so many different beings are born in different forms, and we are, even humans, we are born in different forms, because these all are expressions of our karma, expressions of our conditions, expressions of our perception of self. So it's a limited expression of ourself, what we manifest in our body. So, but when we are fully aware of that base, the boundless space, when we are aware of that, the light of inner awareness, when we are aware of the potentiality of our dynamic energy, fully aware of it by exercising the mindfulness, exercising the sun, the moon, the sky, the dark, exercising the luminosity. And then when we are fully aware of that, one is able to deconstruct or dissolve back our physical dimension back into energy, light, and back into space. So when it happens, that process is called process of achieving body of light or rainbow body. So typically, there are many different stories where people say some people they decide before even process of going through the death, they can just become the body of light. They choose, or others depend on the process of the death. So when they die, the senses loses earth, water, fire, air, space, the dissolution process. So that's really a general idea of the rainbow body. So maybe if you wanted to say something about it, then I will come back to the six lamps.
Sure. I've been fascinated all my life with the rainbow body because I heard about it when I was a child, that there was a tradition amongst Buddhist monks in Jozen, right? How do you pronounce it? Zoji. Huh? Yeah. Okay. That there was a tradition that enlightened beings at the moment of death would experience the clear light of pure awareness, could experience what is called the rainbow body. And then within a day or two, the whole body would disintegrate. And all that was left was nails and hair, because nails and hair don't have awareness or consciousness, and the rest of the body is a manifestation. Or even the nails and hair are manifestation of awareness, but the rest of the body is more acutely aware of that. And so everything would disappear and only nails and hair were left. And I studied this for a while, studied your books and many other things. And so having trained as a biologist, I've always wondered, what is the body made of? What is this body made of? What is your body made of? Or for that matter, what is any object ultimately made of? You know, if you go to the scientific worldview, any physical object, including a physical body of a sentient being, is made of atoms and particles and force fields and gravity, all of them, electromagnetism, strong, weak interactions, they all come together to create this body. And this is what you see. When I look at you, this is what I see. When you look at me, this is what you see. Or you look at a statue, this is what you see. This is the appearance. And science has been struggling now for almost 500 years. What is physical matter, including a physical body, made of? And the first thing is it's made of matter. But actually, no scientist has ever observed a substance called matter. There's no experiment that allows you to observe a substance called matter. What we experience is a narrow band of perceptual activity, human perceptual activity, through a human brain, based on our conditioned mind, as you said. And then we ask ourselves questions. You know, Heisenberg, the great quantum physicist, said, nature never reveals herself to us as she is, but as exposed to our methods of questioning. Now, he was right, but he was also wrong, because we don't expose nature to our methods of questioning. We expose ourselves to the method of questioning. Then, based on our constructs, we conceive or design an experiment, and then based on what we're looking for, we actually do the experiment. Whether it validates what we thought was true or invalidates, that's the methodology of science. So if I want to know the nature of a particle, I have to spend literally trillions of dollars in Geneva, in the Hadron Accelerator, and then design an experiment looking for the Higgs boson. Okay, whether it exists or not, we don't know, but we are looking for it. Okay, so we design an experiment that allows us to look at it through the human nervous system. Then we observe something, we say that's the Higgs boson, we name it. Higgs is a scientist, Irish mathematician physicist. Boson, Higgs boson. Boson is another physicist, Bose, Indian. So Higgs boson, we give it a name to this particular observation. This particular observation based on a particular methodology, and then we call it reality. So based on this, scientists have called the body matter, they've called the body energy, they've called the body information, but science will never call the body consciousness or awareness, because science does not understand awareness. There's no methodology in science right now to understand awareness of consciousness. So all the neuroscience, there's a lot of neuroscience, there's a lot of quantum physics, a lot of mathematics looking at consciousness. But what they discover is not consciousness, they discover inference of consciousness. They say, this is probably how consciousness operates. And then they find a neural basis for it, not realizing that the nervous system itself is an experience in consciousness. So we can't get out of the fact that consciousness is fundamental to any experience, whether it is mental experience, perceptual experience, experience of the body, experience of the world. We can't get out of the fact that without consciousness, there's no conception, there's no experiment, there's no science, there's no mathematics, there's no physics, there's no biology. And yet we are ignoring the most fundamental element in every experience, which is consciousness. So based on this, I would say that the body is made out of consciousness. Body is made out of consciousness, nothing else. The rest, information, energy, space-time, matter, force fields, atoms, particles, they are constructs based on the conditioned mind. In this case, a very sophisticated conditioned mind. Conditioned by mythology, by religion, by society, by economics, by scientific experiments, by technology. We have all these conditionings, and then we look at the body, we say it's physical. But actually, you go beyond the appearance of molecules and atoms, go beyond the force fields, and what you end up with is nothingness. Now, in order to observe any object, I have to, let's say I observe this object, I observe you. Form and formlessness go together. I mean, right here is form, and it is engulfed by what we call space, which is formless. So in order to experience this object, I have also to experience the formless. Because without the formless, this object would have no boundary. This boundary is the formless. And this formless is infinite space, right? It is right now the space in which you and I are having this experience. We call it cognitive space, perceptual space, whatever. But every form, including my physical body, all those forms behind you, are engulfed in infinite space. This is the theater of space-time and causality in which we are having this experience. Mm-hmm. But here's the most interesting thing, which, I read your book very carefully, and you say fundamental nature is light. Then you also use the word energy, and I presume you mean potential energy, because pure consciousness has no energy. It's the source of everything, including the construct we call energy. So, but you say in this book, fundamental reality is light. It is energy, and it is awareness. You say those three words here, right, in this book. So I was thinking about that. And I was thinking, if I took away all the objects in the universe, this, stars, moon, everything, take them away, then even space would disappear. Because the experience of space is based on form and formless going together, right? Form and formless going together. But if I take this away, take every object away, everything disappears. Even the formless is not an experience anymore, because in order to experience the formless, you have to have an object there to contrast it. So what's left? If everything disappears, which is what you call dissolution, what is left? And the answer is, what is left is pure consciousness, which is totally transparent, which is what you call the luminous light body in a luminous, transparent world. And the colors, the shapes, the forms, the rainbow bodies, every object is a rainbow body. So look at this object. It is a particular collection of colors. If I look at this, it's another particular collection of colors. If I look at you and the mandalas in your back and the statue, it's a particular combination of colors. Therefore, it's a rainbow body. It's a rainbow body. You are a rainbow body. I am a rainbow body. Every object is a rainbow body, conceived, constructed, governed, and coming into existence in pure consciousness. Mm-hmm. So at the moment of dissolution, we go back to the source. But what you're saying is, if we can do it consciously, then we have the choice, actually. And I'm now going far out. We have the choice to manifest into any rainbow body, or be independent of any rainbow body.
Yeah, so going back to my first question was that, either any discipline or science methods, either physics, biology, and anything that trying to understand the ultimate truth, or in religion, every different religious traditions trying to understand the ultimate truth. So this issue is always the same. We can talk about it, so much about it, but how do actually, as a human being, have access to more unconditional experiences of that unconditional truth, which is beyond all the conditions. So this is, ancient time, all the practices are really like designed for that. And even many different tenet systems in the Buddhism, one of the argument is always about who has more conditions, who has less condition, who is beyond condition. And if you look in the science, it's the same thing. Who is the truth? Every truth is based on, partially truth, but other conditions they are conditioned by, which they are not able to see the bigger truth. Your question about accelerator in Geneva, in the Stanford, there used to be one here, the accelerator, the research in physics. I went to visit there, and when I thought about the acceleration, the machine there, I thought that was like a channel. There's two forces coming together, and then what do you call it, collision, that when they encounter there, and that is where they discover that the atom, which is perceivable, where you see something and then when you're looking at it and disappears. So in the same way, when the channel, we have the accelerator, same thing in our body. The one image that you're showing, this exactly, there's a 2 channel which goes white and red. Two energy forces goes through the 2 nostril, goes down, and they collide at the junction, and they move up through it. And when they unify it, and there is an experiences, and which you cannot really observe anything. You are not supposed to observe anything. You are supposed to really, you're supposed to experience it or be fully aware of it without observer. So question I think here is always is about, even in Buddhism it says like, the last obstacle of the person who is becoming a Buddhahood is waiting he knows that he's going to be achieve a Buddha and they're waiting for it. The last waiting personality is becoming an obstacle. When the personality waiting one goes, they achieve the liberation, right? So always this question about how we can, as a human, my personal interest is, as a human, how we can, through the practices, how we can actually dissolve, not physical body, our heaviness in our sense of self. Our sickness is a product of that. Our disease, how we can dissolve that. Our pain, how we can dissolve that. Our very struck personality, how we can dissolve that. All the junk of our samsaric story, how we can dissolve that. Before we talk about the rainbow body, how we can dissolve that with pure awareness, pure consciousness. So maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, so here, this is very good. I'm so happy that we are having this conversation. So here is, something I try myself. I close my eyes and I see only blackness, Anybody can try it. Close your eyes and just see total blackness. And now open your eyes and look around and you see colors. The real nature of existence is that total absence of form. But as soon as I open my eyes, the absence of form becomes color, shape, everything that we call everyday reality. So in the moment of perception, we actually construct the physical world. There's no physical world before we perceive it, and then we perceive it and construct it based on the conditioned mind, right? And so they said, this is reality, right? This is reality. This is reality. The rainbow bodies, etc. But we forget that we constructed it, right? Oh. And so as I was reading this book, I also read this whole section on the lamps, the 6 lamps of awareness or the light body or whatever you want to call it, lightness of being. You say heaviness is the basic condition of the karmic body. The karmic body is this. But the karmic body is part of an infinite awareness body, right? And what you're saying is enlightenment is to move from the karmic body, which is the story we've been telling ourselves through time, which is also a story. Time itself is a story. We have this. This is the karmic pain body. And in order to move from the karmic pain body, we have to have the wholeness of being experience, in which this pain body is just a little blip, like a little fluctuation. And it's going on and off. It's not even steady. It's a fluctuation that's going on and off at the speed of light, literally, speed of light, because qualia, quanta move at the speed of light. So this is a changing experience, moving at a speed of light, and the only light actually is the light of awareness, because before I open my eyes, there's no light. Open my eyes, I see. Now I have created the experience of rainbow bodies and light and everything else. And so you say that light is not actually photons, which is a very Western concept. Light is the awareness in which we experience photons as color, as shape, as form. Because without the light of awareness, there's no color, no shape, no form, no reality. So what are these 6 lamps of the light of awareness? Because I think we have a clue right there.
Yeah, okay. So before I go into 6 lamps seems to be delaying all the time. So one thing it reminds me as I'm listening to you is in our tradition, we have something called dark retreat. Dark retreat means basically going into the dark room, and for a certain period of time, when I was a teenage, I went for 50 days, 49, 50 days in dark room, total dark. And my friend of mine went in for 100 days, total dark. So idea of going into the dark is also the practice of meditation of the dark retreat is to cause of the rainbow body. Rainbow body is caused by experiences of the dark retreat. So what happens in the dark retreat is you of course you go through your hell realm, you go through challenges, addictions, your normal expectations, expecting light, food and time and everything. But then some point when you kind of stop everything, then the vision appears. So what vision appears is you go through your own hell, hungry ghost, animal, human realm, you go through whole your samsara. But then when you go that through whole your samsara in a dark room, you know that you are in the dark room. You know you're not outside. You know nobody is killing you. You know you're not being beaten up by somebody. You are safe. But remembering that in the moment of having visions, it's very, very hard. There's a lot of funny stories about people going into the dark room, screaming, yelling, and fighting, and going through all the experiences because they really feel like it's a real. So whole idea, purpose of going there is to know it's only your own vision. You're having experiences in the dark room with these colors, this shape, these sensations and feelings. You're having it, but none of this is there. They call it, it's your self-manifestation. Nothing is out there. So why you do it in a dark room instead of doing it outside? The outside is, we have too many stories. It's too real for us. We cannot imagine it's not real. It's too real. We have conditioned for centuries. But when you go in the dark room, we know, oh, it's not, yak is not there, the tiger is not in my room. We know that. So it's easier to believe. I see tiger, I have the whole experiences of the tiger, whole experiences of fear and death, but there's nothing I know that. In dark retreat, you are able to realize that. Outside, you're not able to realize that. Otherwise, it's the same. So just wanted to say that.
Before you do that, I have an idea because you have given a lot just now of enlightened information. To go through the 6 lamps in detail right now would be overwhelming for everyone. So let's do that the next time by leaving our audience with this idea that the light that we see is the light of awareness. It's not photons. The light of awareness differentiates into everything that we call space-time, matter, energy, information, bodies, galaxies, rainbow bodies. All this is the differentiation of pure awareness, which is basically by itself infinite, formless, unimaginable, incomprehensible, without cause, irreducible, so fundamental that without it there would be no experience. And what you just mentioned, dark room, it's part of a tradition in Ayurveda also. You know, everybody knows about Panchakarma, but there's something called Kaya Kalpa or Kutiya Pravesh, where you go into a dark room for 6 months or a year. And again, tradition says when people come out of that after 1 year, their body has transformed, they have new teeth, new hair, new skin, new body, basically, because they have recycled every conditioning and actually become the silent witnessing awareness of that conditioning. So with that as the basis, maybe you can just mention the 6 lamps and then next time we actually go into exploring them.
I will do that. I will do that. So the first lamp is called the lamp of abiding base. So lamp of abiding base, which is basically saying it's the foundational, that everything, as you said earlier, that in the end, there is nothing, every form, even the conscious, everything dissolves. So the base lamp is that both matter and mind, subject and object, beyond everything. So that's the first lamp. Basically, it means some sense it's light. The second lamp is, it's more in you, in a person, or person, not necessarily human being, but sentient being, anybody who has a consciousness. So we think about two consciousness. One, pervasive consciousness, which is even in the matter exist. Other one is we call samrik, conscious consciousness. It only exists in a human. So the second one is this conscious consciousness. Is only in a human. We're able to be aware of our light. Rock is not able to be aware of its light. Crystal is luminous, but it's not able to be aware of its light, but we are able to aware. So that second lamp is called the lamp of physical heart. So you have to unmute.
Just mention the others because we want to go into detail in our next. And
sure.
We will also explore some techniques, if you don't mind, as we proceed.
So the third lamp is lamp of the soft white channels, basically from heart. There's the two channels go up to the two eyes, through the brain. And the fourth channel is called of the lamp of far existing lasso. So basically, this is more that nakedly seen innate awareness, the naked awareness, what we call naked awareness arising within yourself in that heart. And the fifth channel is called the watery lamp for, the fifth channel is called the lamp of the pointing out of the pure realm. So it's experiences, the realms that we create. You create whole hell realm, you create whole hungry ghost realm, all the realms that we create, all the human experiences of social divisions that we create. These are all experiences, or even spiritual sense, the different pure lands we create. The last lamp is the lamp of the pardo, is the moment of the death. So the moment of the dissolution. So the light is also during the last moment of the death. I guess when people experience all those lights, a moment of the death. So these are basic 6 lamps, but we will definitely explore this later. And I think Deepak's on your program, we will explore that. One more question I have for you. The last question is talking about the light of awareness, like, in Scandinavia, like in particular, like in Sweden, and there's a lot of suicidals and lack of sunlight. And I always thought about it, sunlight, lack of sunlight, and being in the dark room for 50 days, I did not particularly feel low energy or depressive feeling or anything like that. It's the opposite. I feel very joyful, enthusiastic, kind of a lot of energy. So does the light of inner awareness, the light of consciousness, has certain quality of the light of sunlight, which helps the physical dimension?
The only scientific explanation I can think of, and this we did many years ago, almost 25 years ago, is when people go into deep meditation and experience self-awareness, melatonin levels go up in the pineal gland. So pineal gland, as you know, is known as the 6th eye or the second eye, the eye of inner light. This is, Patanjali calls this the eye of inner light. So actually, if I meditate on the eye of inner light with a symbol, a sacred symbol and a color, like Om, for example, or meditate on that inner light, in any of the wonderful techniques that you mentioned here, you actually open up the light of awareness, which is the real light. Sunlight has no light, by the way. There's no light in the sun. There's no light in the stars. There's no light in the lamp. All there is electromagnetic radiation, which has no color or brightness. Light is ultimately only awareness. Okay. And I think the sooner science gets that, the more science will be complete. Because right now science is based on subject-object split. I am the observer and this is the observed, when it's all one unified whole experience in a limitless, unbounded